Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the Cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, comparing the bear markets. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out Into the Cryptoverse Premium at intothecryptoverse.com. I thought it would be somewhat timely to make this comparison once again. If you follow this channel, of course, you're very familiar with it. But the idea is to just measure out from the peak, the drawdown as a function of time, and compare it to prior Bitcoin bear markets. The reason why I want to do an updated video is because we just crossed 400 days into the bear market. Now, because we just had another daily close, we actually just hit 401 days. But this bear market, as measured from the 69K peak, has now gone on over 400 days, right? This is quite a long bear market. Furthermore, if you wanted to measure it from April, which, I do think, while I know there are a lot of indicators that suggest that April was the peak, in fact, a lot of my own indicators, I still come back to this idea that price action is king at the end of the day, not the indicators that we use to interpret price action. But if you were to assume that April was the peak, then you could argue that we're over 600 days into the bear market. But just going by the November peak and comparing to where we currently are, let's go ahead and exclude that first bear market in 2011 and just look at the 2014 and 2018 bear market. As it stands right now, the bear market is the second longest bear market that Bitcoin has ever had. That's even already, even with that low that we had at 15.4K, that bear market low was already longer than what we experienced in 2018. However, it remains only the second longest bear market so far because there was one bear market back from November of 2013 to January of 2015 that actually lasted 406 days, meaning in 5 more days, that bear market would have been over. So if Bitcoin does put in a new low more than 5 days from now, then it would actually be the longest bear market that we've ever had for in Bitcoin's history. But right now, it's the second longest bear market. If this is the low, which again there's plenty of reasons to think that we could in fact eventually have a new low. But if this is the new low, if this is the low, that would only be 378 days. Okay, from the peak to the bottom. But another way to look at this is to measure it 3 months out, right, and to kind of see what that looks like and where we currently stand, right? So 3 months out, you can kind of see that even 3 months out after the bottom is in, we tend to just sort of go sideways for a while. And so that would be sort of the general expectation, is maybe you go up a little bit, but you're still likely looking at sideways, still some bearish bias likely for several months to come. But one of my favorite ways to view this chart is to take it out to the next peak, right? And this is really the important part that I think people really need to spend a lot of time thinking about, is we like to try to figure out constantly whether the bottom is in or not. The truth is we shouldn't spend too much time thinking about it, I guess, because most people aren't going to buy the bottom anyways. If Bitcoin were to capitulate tomorrow to $10,000 and then come back up the following day back up to 15K, most people probably wouldn't have bought it anyways. So what I think is more important is looking at what normally comes after the bear market, and that's usually a long accumulation phase before you have any hope of going into like a sustained bull market. Now, if we get what happened in 2019, where you had that 4x rally in the short term, that would be somewhat impressive. That's not really my base case. My base case is that we, as we get further and further out and closer to the next halving, we're likely just looking at some type of an accumulation phase going into the next halving, at which point hopefully we can begin another bull market. But the point of this chart specifically is to show you that whether you think the bottom is in or not is somewhat irrelevant, because usually even when the bottom is in, we then spend a long time going sideways before we have really any hopes of going to new highs. And this is the thing that I think can be somewhat sobering, because there's always these constant charts put out there, calling for crazy rallies to new all-time highs every single month. And to some degree, they get quite exhausting in a bear market, right? Because all these are just sort of bear market rallies or counter trend rallies, of course, until they're not. But usually you have a bear market year, after you have, historically the bear markets have been like 12 to 14 months based on the last two. So if this one is 14 months, it means it could easily have legs even in 2023, at least the beginning of 2023. After the bear market is over, you still tend to go sideways for a while in preparation for a new bull cycle. So again, I think it's always a good reminder to come back to this chart, remind ourselves where are we within the context of prior bear markets to understand what are the general expectations, and could in fact we go lower, could we not? If you look at the prior two bear markets, the 2014 and the 2018, you can see they did have some type of major capitulation at the end of the bear market. They sort of finalized the bear market. We haven't really seen that in this one so far, right? It's just been sort of, we had a capitulation, but nothing so major like we saw in 2014 and in 2018. That has not happened yet. Is it just going to be a slow bleed rather than a final capitulation? Obviously, that's up for interpretation, but we will continue to follow this until we are decisively out of the bear market. And my guess, again, is I think things will slowly start to turn around and go to neutral sometime in 2023. And then as you get later into 2023, I imagine we'll start to see some bullish signs as the halving will be inside and getting back to probably a more dovish Fed, right, eventually. But that's currently where we stand. Hopefully this comparison on the bear markets is helpful. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and check out Into the Cryptoverse Premium at intothecryptoverse.com. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye.